Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Hello and welcome to WrestleTalk's Best of 2017 So Far Awards. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be counting down the top 5 best feuds / storylines of 2017 so far. We're going to have the popular vote where thousands upon thousands of you have voted. We're going to have Luke's and mine's personal top 5s too. Great English.
That works.
Starting with the popular vote, number 5. I put this in as a joke option.
I was about to say, as soon as I saw this as a joke option, I was like, yeah, this is definitely making it into the list.
So, according to you guys, the 5th best feud / storyline of 2017 so far is the Broken Hardys versus Impact Wrestling. So, just a quick recap. In March, I believe...
Buckle in, lads.
In February, actually... the Broken Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, failed to reach terms with Impact Wrestling, who have new owners by this point. So they leave, they go to Ring of Honor, they're going to do their broken gimmick in Ring of Honor, and TNA send some letters saying, no, you can't because we own it. And they're like, no, we own it, we came up with it, we paid for all the things, and they're actually, well, in the contract it says anything you come up with. They're like, but you breached the contract, yada, yada, yada. It's too much of a legal quagmire, so... that's why they debuted in WWE as the normal Hardys, the Team Extreme Hardys, which is a nostalgia gimmick which will get old eventually.
Yeah.
So
see also the Dudleys.
But it's just been it's been crazy. Rebby Sky and Matt Hardy continually fire off on Twitter, say some very, very pointed things. There's been a few things like, anytime someone in Anthem, who is the parent company of Impact Wrestling, tweet positive things about anything. Like Jeff Jarrett will tweet something. Rebby Sky will be on them right away with loads of tweets being like, yeah, we'll release this. Fisticuffs. I've got a family.
It's getting a bit weird as well because like Ed Nordholm, who is the Anthem dude, has been like, he's been tweeting photos of his legal documents like against the Hardys. Yeah. I'm like, dude, like, have you ever played poker? Like, don't show your hand. Like, keep that to your chest. Because it's like the Hardys have then been saying that, mate, what you've got there is not good enough. I'll see you in court because we'll show that because we paid for for Impact at our compound and things like that. That we do own some rights to the characters, and it is a legal mess.
It's an absolute mess, and the problem is, and this is an unpopular opinion, Anthem aren't really the bad guys.
No,
because this happened. WWE do this all the time, and this is the standard. If you make a piece of intellectual property for a certain promotion or anywhere where you work, if you're an independent contractor. Comic books happens all the time.
That's why comic books, they creators go to the other company and just essentially create the same character again.
Yeah, what you've created belongs to the company that were paying you at the time. That's why Cody Rhodes can't be called Cody Rhodes outside WWE at the moment because WWE own that name. And WWE gets some criticism for that. Rightfully so, I would say, but legally it's correct. But for some reason, Impact has had a huge amount of vitriol targeted towards them because the Hardys have been so vocal about it, particularly Rebby.
But not only that, but because TNA as a name, or Impact Wrestling, I suppose as it is now, is a poison chalice. Everyone kind of is always going to rile against that company because. Aside from the hardcore Impact fans, of which there are apparently like 300,000 that tune into Pop each week, no one likes Impact, and it's a shame, really. But yeah, as you said, they now come off as the bad guys with the heroic Hardys fighting for the characters they created. When, as you rightly pointed out, I mean, when the Dudleys went to TNA, they weren't allowed to be called the Dudleys. They were then reformed as Team 3D. But even things like they said, well, you can't say get the tables because that's a WWE trademark.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And like Angle, when he went, wasn't allowed to call his finisher the Olympic Slam.
It was the Angle Slam, sure, yeah. Yeah, it's just it's a mess. But it's apparently the 5th best storyline of 2017 so far.
Perhaps that says a lot about WWE's writing.
Yeah. Number 4 in the popular vote is one that started off amazing, and lots of people were touting it as one of the best storylines in WWE. It ran from August all the way through to WrestleMania this year. The Viper in the Family storyline between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, where Randy Orton decided if he can't beat him, join him, joined the Wyatt family. They became the tag team champions.
For a brief period.
They got rid of Luke Harper. Randy Orton sort of got rid of him by infiltrating the Wyatts. And then it collided, and Randy Orton was actually it was all a big ruse.
Yeah.
Great build. Really good Royal Rumble sort of unveiling when Luke Harper took both of them on. Terrible execution.
Well, this is
at
it.
The end,
I mean, for me, I think this storyline started off really good. Problem is that started off really good last year. I think from actually at the 2017 point is when the storyline completely unraveled.
I think after Rumble.
Yeah, but that's the start of 2017.
Or maybe even Elimination Chamber. Because then when Bray Wyatt won the belt, you're like, now these two, the Royal Rumble winner and the Elimination Chamber winner colliding.
But like we said in the last video, a big complaint was that Brock Goldberg didn't need the title. Neither did Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, really. But it was, and it made Bray's first title win completely redundant, especially then because Randy's won it and he's lost it again a month later.
It could have worked. It could have worked if this was to get Bray Wyatt over even more, but it was all designed to set up Randy. This was the perfect time to do a Bray Wyatt face turn.
Yeah.
Because when Randy Orton burnt down Bray's cabin,
what a dick!
You're like, I'm on Bray's side now. If they did a double turn like that, I think people would have got on board with it.
What a dick! He destroyed a family. He's left Luke Harper out in the cold now. Luke Harper's things like, and poor Eric Rowan, I don't have a family anymore.
Yeah.
He's burnt down Bray's house, dug up his sister Abigail and rubbed her ashes on his face. What a dick.
Yeah.
He's a horrible person. How is he the face?
And the final thing here, it turned into, the supernatural side, which you didn't need.
I really, I thought this was a poorly told story in the end. Really badly told story in the end.
But it's testament to how good the build was that it got to number 4 here.
Yeah.
Again, a long built storyline that had kind of petered out at the end and had some weird contrived bits in the middle. But overall, I think was very, very worthwhile and rewarding. At number 3, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
The best friends, the festival of friendship, and then the split. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's pretty, yeah.
It was
Next
pretty
one.
Good. I've got very little to say on it. I thought some of the angles were very good, but you were right. For me, I thought it was dragged out too much. I think that there were points where it should have ended, but then the cleaning of the house, it never ended, and they just kind of kept just stretching it out and adding new weird bits into there, and after a while it got a little bit stale. But it did lead to a very, very good final angle with the Festival of Friendship. Problem with that is that it didn't lead to great matches. Outside of that,
the matches were a bit disappointing. But the segments week to week on Raw were really, we spoke about it when Chris Jericho was in the best wrestler list. They got us through some bad moments of Raw. So for that was the shining light in Raw's darkest period in recent memory.
Yeah.
And number 2, we have John Cena and AJ Styles' feud.
I'm surprised this got into the top 5, but B got up so high because was there really a storyline in there? It was just Cena came back, was handed a title shot, won it, and then the feud ended.
Yeah, but I guess it was the end part of a long-running storyline from August, because by that point, Styles had beaten Cena clean twice at SummerSlam the year before, and then some other time. Was it the No Mercy 3-way? The one that went up against the Trump debate? I can't remember. Anyway, so you had Styles had beaten Cena twice, and then Cena got the win back at the end and a 16th world title reign after a fantastic match.
Yeah, it's just Cena winning took the wind out of my sails a little bit, because it wasn't the right time for AJ to drop the belt.
AJ should have carried it to WrestleMania. Cena could have got his 16th world title win then. But they wanted to do the marriage thing instead.
And I completely agree with that. But especially now that it seems that the plan is going for Cena and Jinder at SummerSlam when Cena wins the belt back. I think that would have been a better 16th title win for AJ, really.
For Cena.
Sorry, for Cena rather, to get his 16th title win in a match that sort of matters, because the 16th win thing was really lackluster. He dropped it. He lost it a month later. Actually, it wasn't even a month later. It was
a few weeks.
A few weeks later, so that was completely redundant. But they also started to downplay the 16th title win thing because they knew he was only going to drop it in a few weeks' time. So let's not And it just feels like
just
it was
a transitional champion.
And because they were so focused on that, Charlotte lost on pay-per-view because they didn't want two people with 16 like a 16 running streak thing. So that then lost all the WrestleMania momentum that was getting as well. So I think actually it was actually quite destructive.
Wow.
In terms of good storytelling elsewhere.
Luke shooting on the popular vote. At number 1, we have what produced the best wrestling match of all time, according to Dave Meltzer, at 6 stars. Kenny Omega's feud with Kazuchika Okada in New Japan is number 1 in the popular vote.
I'm happy to see this get up that high. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really built like a sporting storyline. I think people have connected with that, with the press conferences and the presentation and how New Japan style their wrestling, and the story told in that 6-star match at Wrestle Kingdom on January the 4th was that Omega never managed to hit his finisher, and that's the storyline that's worked its way through. But the rematch is as we're recording this right now at Dominion, so we can't comment on how that's gonna. Maybe he's won it. Jeez,
crikey.
Yeah,
who knows?
But yeah, that is a worthy winner, I would say, because that is arguably the biggest star presentation of feud. No, actually, Lesnar and Goldberg could have been one.
But let's see what was your number 5?
So my personal top 5 at number 5 is Christopher Daniels winning the ROH title after 15 years of trying at ROH's 15th anniversary show. It was just a great story going into it with Frankie Kazarian's turn, and actually it was a fake turn. He didn't really side with the Bullet Club. It was just to throw the Bullet Club off to help Daniels win. It was great, and it was a real feel-good moment as well.
I'm really happy for Daniels as well. I've been a big fan of Chris Daniels for quite some time, so it's great to see him get to that level. Like, I always thought that he should have been at that level in TNA, but they never pulled the trigger on him. And so I'm really glad that he's been given that opportunity. And well done, Chris.
What's your number 5, mate?
My number 5 is my notes are down here in case you wonder where I was leaning to. Is Lesnar Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
Is the Lesnar Goldberg feud. It was
somehow didn't make it onto the...
No, I'm surprised it didn't, because I just thought it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Again, like, I like things that feel like it's a real fight, and that felt like it was a real fight. It felt like a big time WrestleMania match, especially coming off that. I got a lot of criticism at the time. I don't understand why. That wonderful Survivor Series match. Like, that was perfect booking. It was so good in terms of storytelling, and it made the Lesnar character the most interesting he'd been in quite some time. And it made Goldberg, you're like, oh my God, Goldberg's he's back. It's Goldberg. And that feud then built up and built up and built up, and then they had that great WrestleMania match. I just thought that the build and the storyline worked brilliantly for Lesnar, and it worked even better for Goldberg. And I think Lesnar now is once again a more interesting character.
I completely agree. It's strange how you have these two big titans, and then effectively you've got the storyteller voice of Paul Heyman doing it. So, and they don't really talk. Goldberg did talk a little bit. But the way the whole feud was orchestrated was very interesting.
You could argue that some of Goldberg's in-ring promos, like where he headbutted the locker too hard and busted himself open.
That was just once. Widely, it was very good.
But there was also, like, people were criticising him for bringing his kid too much into it. But, like, I mean... Sundberg, but the reason why he was doing this is because Sundberg had never seen him wrestle, and that's why he was doing it. So I've got no problems with that. Loved it.
So number 4 for me is Undertaker's retirement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Again, didn't make it into the top 5 of the popular votes.
I just think it's
because Roman Reigns was involved.
Yeah, it's such a momentous thing, and I guess it wasn't the best told story. It started at Royal Rumble when he was just thrown out by Roman Reigns, and then he kind of appeared. And that was off the back of, I'm on SmackDown now.
Yeah.
I'm here to stay, to take holes and dig souls. Now I'm on Raw, actually going back on all that because plans have changed backstage.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Don't know why I put it in my top 4.
That's the thing. Like, I think as a moment, The Undertaker retiring at WrestleMania, where he put down the gloves and he did that
angle rather than the storyline.
And he did that really sad strip.
Yeah,
was great. Like, that was an incredible moment. Like, one of those moments where I was like, I wish I was there live to have seen this. But I felt like the actual build to it was a bit lackluster. The match itself was a bit naff, and I think because people didn't buy into Roman Reigns as the guy to retire The Undertaker, I think it really, really hurt it. Had that been an AJ Styles, or had it been a John Cena, I think it would have been a completely different kettle of fish. But Yeah, I think because it was Roman Reigns, that really dampened the whole thing down. And it didn't get, I don't think it got the reaction that the company wanted. And it's just led to horrible big dog promos that this is my yard now.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate consequence. What about your number 4?
My number 4 is one that I don't think is going to be on your list. And it certainly wasn't on the popular list, nor was it one of the choices.
Ooh.
And this might surprise some people as well, my number 4 is Ali and Braxton Sutter versus Laurel Van Ness and Congo Kong in Impact Wrestling.
Really?
Okay, so this is Impact Wrestling. I've started watching it again quite recently because it's now on Spike TV here in the UK. So I've been recording that and watching it. I'm now kind of like caught up to date on where Impact Wrestling is as a company, because I think I've said before in these videos I was a huge TNA mark.
Same here, and in the golden days.
In the golden eras of TNA, not was I just a huge TNA mark. I was a blind TNA follower.
Feel you, bro.
To the point where, like, anytime WWE did something good, I was like, yeah, no, it's rubbish though, innit? Because like TNA's doing this so much better over here. Like TNA's got AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, mate. Yeah. Like, so I was that fan. Like, it's the fan now that I kind of take the mick out of a little bit. But I was that guy.
We were younger.
Exactly. But of all the stuff that's in the Impact Wrestling, a lot of it's a bit naff and it's a bit muddled amongst. They've got all this Global Force stuff that's kind of like really bogging things down. There's so many titles just kind of laying around and none of them really mean anything. Like Alberto El Patron won it and I'm like, who cares? Like, it's not like it's a worthy title. And they were in this big tournament to like crown tag team champions. Like, well, who cares? Because Global Force isn't a thing anymore. Just get rid of it. Melt it down and sell it for gold. For Global for gold, whatever it was. Force for gold.
Jeff Jarrett's gold Ponzi scheme.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, but there has been one shining light in the whole thing, and the thing that's kept me tuning back in. And it started with the wedding angle they did last year.
That was great.
Which was so good. It's the one bit of Impact I did actually watch last year, apart from like the Hardy stuff. I was recommended it and I watched it. What a wonderful angle. What a great storyline. And everyone in that told their story so well. And it's a shame now that Bennett and Maria have gone, because I think they could have really helped this storyline, especially Maria could have helped this in the later goings. But Ali is so good. And Braxton Sutter is a great like mentor role to her. But you've now got Laurel Van Mess, as she's been done. Have you seen her as of late? She's still wearing her wedding dress.
Oh, yes, I have.
Makeup strewn down her face, chugging champagne as she's coming to the ring, drunk as all hell, dragging Congo Kong, this monster, to the ring to destroy Braxton Sutter at every opportunity. And he's just this big savage dude. And she just stands there just going, just shouting along with him. It's wonderful storytelling, and it's just a wonderful visual. I am in love with this storyline, and I love Ali, I love Laurel, I love Braxton, I love Congo Kong, and you've also got like KM in there, and it's great storytelling.
Who would have thought Impact would have made it on here?
I would have thought it. Ali is what Bayley should be on the main roster. Like, they're doing the Bayley characters so much better in Impact than they are in WWE, because Cherry Bomb's a very, very accomplished wrestler, but she pulls off not being able to wrestle or being like, I'm a first-time wrestler so well. Like, I was watching a match.
It takes a great wrestler to do that. It takes
a great wrestler to be bad at what you do. Like, I think she's been so awesome. Sorry, your number 3.
My number 3 is one we've already gone through, and you as well. Lesnar and Goldberg.
Wonderful.
Thought it was a great feud. Big money. That's like the biggest name, biggest drawing. Yeah, loved it.
Loved it. My number 3 is actually, I spoke about it before, which was Rude and Atami in NXT.
Yes.
Again, I thought the storytelling, if you want to see me go into more detail, I talk about this in the Best Wrestlers.
Best Wrestling Matches.
Best Wrestling Match feud, yes, which we did a couple of days ago. Feud video. So you can, I'll go into a bit more detail there, but I just love the Atami story here, especially going against Bobby Roode, who's this new glorious champion. I thought it was wonderful. Really, really great. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Okada versus Omega. Just because, as I said in the number 1 of the popular vote, that it feels like a sporting thing. I like stuff that makes me feel like wrestling's real. That's why I like the Lesnar Goldberg thing. It did feel like an MMA style fight. This feels like as if wrestling was a sport. This is what it would look like with press conferences and photographers near the ring and pull apart brawls. But not in a gimmicky in-ring way, so in like a backstage way. Loved it.
I've just suddenly realised, looking at my notes, I've gone in the wrong order.
Oh, what, you're counting back?
I've counted backwards. I was meant to, Lesnar Goldberg was my favourite one, and Ali was number 2. And then number 3, I've got Rude versus Atami. I just suddenly realised that because I suddenly looked at my notes. I was like, oh, wow, why is that my number 1? Because I thought that was my number 5.
Oh, well. So what's your number 4,
My number
Luke?
4, actually. So, so it's been 1, 2, 3. So
it's not as dramatic this way.
No, I'm very sorry. I'm new to this. Counting. My number 4 is John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maryse. You want to talk about great angles on SmackDown this year? The Total Bella Bull S-word stuff has been... Oh, it was so good. And the resulting match wasn't particularly great, but the angle that came out of it was so much better. What a feel-good moment for WrestleMania. And I just thought that every person in that really played their roles well, particularly The Miz and Maryse.
Perfect.
That feud should have elevated The Miz. It should have put him so much higher on the card than he currently is now. That move to Raw has killed that poor boy dead. He should be a top dude on SmackDown, and he's not. And I feel really bad for him because he worked his ass off to get... And I would say as well, and I think I said this in Wrestle Ramble when we first started doing these, that The Miz and Maryse were the ones who really got that feud over. They were the ones who really...
Oh, yeah.
Because Cena and Nikki Bella were fine, but they were just John Cena and Nikki Bella. They sometimes weren't there. They just did what they did. But The Miz and Maryse made that a match that you wanted to see. And fair play to them. And I loved it.
Yeah, both sides really pulled on real life. There was the most shoot storyline in WWE we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, great.
And somehow Maryse's version of Nikki Bella is hotter than both Maryse and Nikki Bella separately. The perfect fusion there.
Yeah.
My number 1 feud. Actually, do you want to do your number 5? Because it would be more dramatic if I...
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, so my number 5 was Owens and Jericho.
No way!
Yeah, so I had that number 5. Because
my number 1 is Owens and Jericho.
No, I just saw your notes. And instead he goes, I loved the Festival of Friendship. I thought that was great. But for me, it just came too late in the day. And while I thought the feud as a whole was great, which is why it was at number 5... that's why it was low down on the list. But yeah, great.
It was number 1 for me because I cannot thank them enough for getting me through those dark Raw months late last year and in January this year. And I thought the Festival of Friendship thing was one of the best things WWE's ever done. Now, tomorrow we will have the best wrestling segment / angle. So not storyline or feud, but the actual specific bits, the turns, the heel turns, the big spots, stuff like that. So remember to tune in to tomorrow for that, where we'll have our top 5s and, of course, the popular vote. But now, click on the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face for the WrestleTalk news or the latest Wrestle Ramble. Press subscribe to WrestleTalk and support WrestleTalk on Patreon. This has been Luke Owen, I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Awards.